This is our front door to the array of services that we provide our homeless community. We're very excited that all of you could be here with us this morning to celebrate this important milestone as we provide a new shelter opportunity for our population. Before we begin today's program, I want to acknowledge the presence of a few of our elected officials here. You will be hearing from some of them. Mayor Bailey will be speaking. Councilmember Aaron Edwards, who represents Ward 1, which this site is in. We have representatives from Senator Roth's office, Tyler Mederi. We have representatives from Assembly Member Medina's office, Cesar Gomez, and we've got Rachel Gonzaga on behalf of Assembly Member Cervantes. So we're very excited for all of them to be here and share this moment with us. With that, I'm going to ask Mayor Bailey to come to the podium to kick off our program.
Welcome on a beautiful Riverside day. And let me tell you the bottom line up front for this effort, this project. Riverside is addressing homelessness head on. It's not running away from it, it's running towards it. And you see evidence of that, and you'll hear evidence of that today. This is a crisis, and we're responding as such through emergency shelter. That's why we're here today. And the only outcome that we truly care about is people off the streets. That is success for us in addressing homelessness. That is our success for society. And this is not just a government problem. This is a societal issue that we have to fix. And so this is a response, not just from the government, but from our community, our society. And I'm going to give credit up front, first of all, gratitude to the staff and the staff hours that went into this. And it shouldn't go unnoticed or unsaid that it was a heavy lift for our organization to change its code, truly, and to address issues in the state law that didn't allow us to do this at first. And so it took political will. We have willpower in Riverside to address homelessness, thanks to the council and to the city manager you'll hear from, and from his staff. And I hope that, Al, you're going to recognize the staff members that were involved in this, everywhere from building and safety to code to fire to homeless outreach and solutions. All right. But I'm going to recognize the community that have come alongside us to respond to, again, the societal issue. And those include a private citizen. I don't know, is Alan here today? Did Alan make it? Alan Burkholder, who heard about this on the news, so thank you to the news for being here, because, again, everybody has a role to play in addressing this issue, in the societal issue. Everybody that's watching has a role to play, whether you're the mayor or whether you're Alan Burkholder out there listening or reading the news and saying, I want to be a part of the solution. And so he donated, I think it was $1,000 to this effort, a private citizen. So we're asking the public to think and pray and to find it in your heart and in your mind to come to grips that this is not a problem you can point your finger at the government and say, go solve it. It is a societal issue that we all have a role to play in addressing. Emmanuel Lutheran Church, Pastor Borst is here after he came and visited me when I was staying here. He said, this is something we want to be a part of in terms of solving. So thank you, Emmanuel Lutheran Church, Pastor Borst, for being the #1 donor, the Grove Community Church, All Saints Episcopal Church, Harvest Church, and then KSGN, a radio show. You know, you're the media's outlet when it comes to Christian music and Christian values, and so thank you, KSGN. The dean of the School of Business at La Sierra University, who is a member of that board, Dr. Johnny Thomas and Phil Orr are here today. So thank you, KSGN, for stepping up. Tilden Coyle, as always, great community advocates and supporters. Brian Parks and Sunrise Service Team as well. And so, once again, society came to the table to address this issue. And thank you again for all of you being here today to get a sneak peek at a significant new effort at reducing homelessness in Riverside. This village and emergency shelter cabins as you'll see on the side, it is Pallet Shelter. Amy King is here if you want to talk to her more. Wave your hand, Amy, who is the CEO of Pallet Shelters, a company that is basically the majority of the employees are formerly homeless, that not only work and build these, but design them. So you have formerly homeless individuals that were living in tents and on the streets, designing a product for their brothers and sisters that are still out there. It's an incredible effort. So thank you, Amy, for being here today, and Pallet Shelter for stepping up and lending us 10 of these during the cold weather months. The bottom line for our response and commitment is to help our neighbors without homes get off the streets and begin the journey to self-sufficiency. That is the ultimate goal. We're confident that these cabins will help individuals experiencing homelessness eventually move into permanent housing. Housing first, services always, permanent supportive housing next, but community ever present. These cabins will be especially effective in providing a new type of housing for homeless people who may be averse to a traditional shelter environment. This includes couples, people with pets, families with children who have aged out of the family shelter, and individuals suffering from PTSD. A significant barrier that I found when I was living out here is that individuals on our streets want to have their partners with them, their pets with them, their possessions with them, wherever they go, as well as privacy. A key that opens a door to their unit that they can close and secure. That is safe and dignified shelter. That's what we have in Riverside. I can tell you, as I mentioned from personal experience, that these cabins, while not plush, are a safe and peaceful place to get some rest and secure one's belongings. As many of you know, I spent several nights in a cabin very similar to these that didn't have air conditioning or heating this last year. I did that because I saw their potential and wanted to get a better understanding of how they work. I saw firsthand the value of having this type of housing as part of our toolbox of potential solutions for our neighbors without homes. And the outreach I was able to do with my homeless neighbors, individuals living right outside on the streets, convinced me that this option will be embraced by our neighbors without homes who have not felt comfortable in the past accepting services for a variety of reasons that I already mentioned. But that's something that you hear from the outside is, well, they don't accept services. The homeless population doesn't accept services. That is just a falsehood. That is a falsehood. We did our research. Cabin communities have been working successfully in the city of Oakland for the last couple years. They have seen 40% of those asked, or I think it's even higher than that. Forgive me for the percentages, but more than 40%, more than 50%, I will say with confidence, who were asked if they would like to live in a cabin community said yes. So that dispels this rumor that our homeless neighbors will not accept services. And then beyond that, 50% of those that accepted the service and went in to the cabin community stepped out of that community into permanent supportive housing. What does that tell you? They have a need. They have desire. They do want to get out of this condition. It's a condition of homelessness. So, this option, though, I'm not going to tell you it's going to cure homelessness. This is not for everyone. Some undoubtedly will choose to remain in their tent or on the streets, and it will not immediately clear the encampments along Massachusetts Avenue. But it will be welcomed by a portion of our homeless population that wants to change their lives. And that will help us begin to chip away at the problem on Massachusetts Avenue and elsewhere around our city as we move people from the streets and sidewalks into this new form of shelter and then on to permanent housing and self-sufficiency. Once again, that is our goal. Now I want to welcome a partner in this effort and a friend to this community, City Manager Al Zelenka.
Thank you, Mayor Bailey. My name is Al Zelenka, City Manager for the City of Riverside. Thank you for your leadership, Mayor Bailey, and for being the strongest advocate in the Inland Empire for matters concerning individuals experiencing homelessness. I'm proud to be the city manager and be here representing city staff who's worked so closely with the Office of the Mayor, the Office of the Mayor has worked so hard on this topic. And we're so thankful that this day has arrived. I'd especially like to thank the multitude of departments that have been involved to make this happen. As the mayor said, it's an incredible effort that has occurred when we think about the third week in January or thereabouts when the council made a decision to invest in this option. And here we are in the middle of March, a very rapid transformation and mobilization of city staff and resources to create this community. I want to thank the offices of the Finance Department, General Services Department, Public Works, Community and Economic Development, Public Utilities, the Office of Homeless Solutions and Hafsa Keka, its leader, the Office of Communications, Public Information Officer, City Attorney's Office, and definitely want to give a shout out for two particular groups. One is the unprecedented one-stop shop at the City of Riverside, who can make things happen faster than any city in Southern California and perhaps even in California because of our partnership-based approach. And also I'd like to give a big shout out to Robert Wise of the General Services Department, who served as the day in and day out project manager for converting this parking lot into a community. We're here today because the City Council voted to take 3 actions designed to alleviate the incidence of homelessness in Riverside. Those actions included establishing an emergency shelter cabin village, which we're standing at right now, purchasing additional beds in the Riverside Community Shelter, and also offering increased rental assistance for individuals experiencing homelessness who want to move into apartments or homes. I'd like to thank the City Council for taking the steps and providing the funding necessary to make all of these options a reality, including these emergency shelter cabins. This village around us, as the mayor said, features 20 cabins, plus an additional 10 shelter cabins that have been added temporarily for use during cold weather months. The village will be operated by CityNet, right here to my left, a team of nonprofit professionals who work to end street-level homelessness, as the mayor said. They work through coordination of community efforts, case management, housing navigation, family reunification, and community mobilizations. We expect that individuals experiencing homelessness will move into these cabins in the next couple of weeks. We're really grateful to all the efforts of all involved to get people housed as soon as possible. As the mayor said, this is another tool in our toolbox, and our toolbox is growing in the City of Riverside. There's no one perfect way, as the mayor said, to get someone off the streets and into a permanent, stable housing environment, but there's a number of paths available, and these emergency shelters provide one of those paths. A person may enter this process of getting into stable housing through one of these cabins, or they may enter this process through the Riverside Community Shelter. They could then graduate into what we call bridge housing, which will begin construction shortly, just steps away from here, or they can get an apartment using a tenant-based rental assistance program, which pays for their rent. From there, they could transition into more permanent housing through a voucher system like Section 8. Finally, they can advance into an affordable housing environment and eventually after that into a market rate housing environment once they achieve self-sufficiency. But we know that at least some of the folks who are individuals experiencing homelessness will start this process would not start this process without an option like this shelter cabin community. So it's really rewarding for me and for our entire city team to get this off the ground. Lastly, I'd like to give a big shout out to Moises Lopez, our Deputy City Manager, who kicked off this event. Moises has been working tirelessly on this topic for the 18 months that he has been Deputy City Manager. And without his leadership on the city staff side of the house, we would not be standing here today. So I thank you very much, Moises. Next, I would like to welcome to the podium not only council member of Ward 1, but Mayor Pro Tem, Aaron Edwards. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager Zelinka. I am Erin Edwards, a member of the Riverside City Council representing Ward 1 and our city's current Mayor Pro Tem. On behalf of the Riverside City Council, I would like to welcome you to this event today. It is indeed a monumental day for our city. As we offer a glimpse of the emergency shelter cabin village going up here, we must keep in mind the need to consider a variety of approaches to reducing the incidence of homelessness in our city and across California. As Al stated, this village was created as a result of City Council action. These actions are all important avenues for us to pursue. Each will make a dent in this problem in its own way. I remain convinced that a coordinated county-wide effort, region-wide effort, is crucial to our collective success in addressing homelessness. I look forward to building bridges with the county and our surrounding cities to get us closer to that coordinated effort. These 30 pallet shelters are a new concept. We don't know if they will work, but we do know that we owe the issue of homelessness our best and brightest ideas, even and especially when we are trying something new. This is what the City of Arts and Innovation does. This groundbreaking, so to speak, is groundbreaking for our city. I am hopeful that actions like the one we are taking to create an emergency shelter cabin village here in Riverside will serve as a model for our neighbors across the region. Homelessness, made exponentially worse by the statewide housing crisis, is not going away anytime soon. But efforts like this, especially if they can be duplicated across the county and the state, are key to getting people off the streets and on the road to recovery. I would now like to invite Moises Lopez up for closing comments.
All of the speakers that you heard from today, Mayor Bailey, Councilmember Edwards, Al Zelinka, our city manager, will be available for interviews at the conclusion of this event, as well as our representatives from CityNet, our nonprofit partner operator for this particular facility, Hafsa Keika, our homeless solutions officer, general services staff who are here, who are project managers or project leads for this particular project. Also like to recognize and again point out Pastor Stephen Borst of Emmanuel Lutheran Church, as well as Dr. Johnny Thomas and Phil Orr of KSGN, who are also available for interviews as soon as we conclude these remarks. Obviously, as Mayor Bailey alluded to, it takes a village to pull a project like this together, and so we're very happy that we've achieved this particular milestone, and we hope to invite you back in about a month's time to celebrate alongside the residents of these villages, of these cabins in the not too distant future. So with that, we'll conclude today's event and turn it over to all of our speakers.
Any questions?
Yeah, Pathway to Life Ministries has done work in the Palm Springs area, Coachella Valley. Are you, any of you folks here, aware of efforts to bring similar housing out to the Coachella Valley, Palm Springs area?
I know that there is interest outside of the city in cabin communities, and I'll defer to Hafsa Keika because I know that there's some that have visited. Have some communities visited this?
In Palm Springs?
No, anywhere. Has any city have visited or is interested?
Palm Springs, Coachella Valley area.
Yeah, what's really exciting is what I do know, we're going to be getting a lot of the state funding from the Homeless Housing Assistance Program, and I know that Palm Springs, the county, and the Continuum of Care are looking forward to receiving those funding dollars. So they haven't necessarily released anything yet, but we're looking forward to hear what they will be planning.
Mayor Bailey, I have a question regarding how you're going to be choosing the folks that are going to be entering the cabin.
That's for the operator, CityNet.
So the question is about the intake.
So clients will need to access the Access Center here in Riverside to inquire about opportunities to enter the shelter. We'll be operating the shelter, but everybody will be going through the Access Center to be able to enter.
One of the things that the Office of Homeless Solutions has proactively done is that we have ensured that our case managers have established relationships with the individuals and established rapport to help them with whatever issues that they're experiencing. And with that, we have done assessments to prioritize individuals coming into the Pallet community. Next week, we'll be looking forward to having our first batch of new residents.
So there's security on site, 24/7. There's bathrooms, showers. Brad, do you want to speak to any more of the operational elements there?
Yeah, obviously, the health and security is primary in a place like this when we're in a tight village, so we will be taking every precaution from meal preparation. The groups that are bringing in the meals will be certified through the safety codes just to make sure that we're providing healthy food. Obviously, the units will be cleaned on an ongoing basis. We also have cleaning services on an ongoing basis. We'll be working with residents, taking them to do laundry, for example, and sort of helping them sort of assemble their products, the items that they have, that they currently have, their belongings. We'll kind of help them package those and make sure that those are clean as they move in. And then ongoing, we'll have safety and security, as was alluded to, we'll have round-the-clock security here, as well as staff around the clock. So we'll do everything to ensure both safety and cleanliness on an ongoing basis. Yeah, I mean, so up to 60 to 120, 180 days. I mean, that's kind of, every case will be different. We'll kind of work, every individual circumstance will be different. We'll obviously get them settled, kind of allow them to sort of take advantage of the services that will be provided here as we reach out to the other agencies and across the parking lot here, but also as we bring outside agencies to sort of, meet individual case needs with our case management staff that'll be on staff here. And so the goal would be as quick as possible without sort of kind of pushing people through, but as we've been talking about this morning, this is another tool in sort of what we hope is system flow, right? So as people come here, they can stabilize, and then we're not just looking to keep them here for a long term. It's to get them stable, make sure that they have privacy and security and can address not just their own personal health concerns and things like that, but also look for opportunities, job searching and things like that. We will work with those individuals and then transition people as quickly as possible, and then look to move in the next residents from the streets.
Brad, you say 10 of the units here are for colder weather and 20 are not. Which of the 10 are the colder weather shelters?
I'm not actually sure the answer to that question. Go ahead.
So initially, the city council approved 20 units to go in here, and by the grace of Pallet Shelter, they donated 10 more during cold weather months. But because of the capacity of the community to raise funds to keep those, that's the next step. And so we're going to take that back to council, the donation from the faith community and others, and we're going to keep those 10 units on site. They are not. They all have air conditioning, heating, shelves. You'll get a chance to walk through and see that. But again, most importantly, privacy and a key that keeps them secure at night. All right, that's a wrap then. I'll ask the donors to come forward to get a picture, and I can express gratitude to you personally. Thanks all for coming today.
Anybody wants a tour, come on over.
Tour. CityNet, Jessica, can I have you for the tour as well? All right, we're live streaming this tour, so let's come on in. Thank you so much for being part of today's press conference. We're really excited to launch the community here, the Riverside Village. So we're walking into the very first pallet here, or the very first cabin community. As you can see, one of the things that we did with CityNet is we ensured that in the planning process, we wanted to make it feel as homely as possible. And with that, the very first thing folks are greeted to is a home sweet home. Come on in and take a look through here. So, emulating the feeling of coming into a home, one of the things that CityNet has done is that there's going to be 2 different places to sleep here so that we can maximize the space and end homelessness as quick as possible. You can see that there is a fire extinguisher as well as the AC and the HVAC unit. This is my happy place. That's what we want to greet people. Jessica from CityNet, would you like to kind of talk a little bit about the bed and the thought process going into the care and concern for individuals?
Sure. So every client will be when they come in, we'll take them to their new bed, and they'll be given a bed that's made with sheets and blankets and a really comfy mattress pad, pillows. All of their hygiene needs will be met, and they will be able to use their homes to charge their phones, computers, or what they need to be able to make phone calls when they're looking for help.
Wonderful. And what's this right here?
So every client will, so a lot of clients have a lot of belongings. We're encouraging them to decrease the amount of stuff that they're bringing into the shelter, so they'll be allowed to have 2 containers to be able to store their belongings. And so they'll fill them up, and then they'll sell them into their bed.
And this is really important because you heard the mayor speak earlier about pets, persons, and possessions. And oftentimes people experiencing homelessness, it's really important as a best practice to have their possession and their pets with them as well.
Yeah, and their pets will have kennels that will go underneath the beds for their safekeeping when they're with their clients in the house.
Wonderful. Well, we'll come out here. So one of the things that you'll see over here is that there's several different actual cabins. We have 26 on this site right here. As you can see, it's gated for the security. CityNet has made a very big intention to ensure that there is actual safety and security on site. So one of the things you'll see is lighting as well, and cameras.
Yes, we'll also be putting in a camera security system so that we'll be able to see what's going on in each of the corners of the shelter.
You can walk around here. We'll come out this way. All right. And as you can see, we've made enough space for folks feeling comfortable to come back in. And now we're going to go ahead and go to the ADA units.
That was a temporary shelter too. Different kind.
Okay, so come on through. Now we're going to go ahead and experience how it is with the actual office and the ADA units. Watch your step as we're going to be going through. Oh, we're going to wait here. We'll go around this way. One of the things I'd like you to notice as we're out here is the great access to the Access Center itself. This is really important because one of the intentions for the city was to make sure that we had a continuity of services. Come on over here. Oh, my heels. All right, so welcome to the spot where it's specifically designated for the ADA units. We at the city and CityNet believe it's really important to ensure that there's a safe space for the vulnerable population. So Jessica's going to explain a little bit how the ADA units are working.
So the ADA units will only have one bed so that anyone that has a walker or a wheelchair will be able to come in comfortably and place their wheelchair here. They'll be able to transfer themselves onto the bed. This bed is a little higher, but they'll have the same access to storage, but they'll have a private cabin because they will need extra space for their wheelchairs.
Absolutely. So we actually have 4 ADA units, and right now I'd also like to show you our bathrooms and shower. Hygiene is a very important issue to the city as well as CityNet, and I am so impressed at the thoughtfulness that CityNet put into these restrooms. As you can see, you have a restroom here for all, and when you come on in, it's even prettier than an actual airplane, I think. You've got the shower here, the toilet, you've got the sink and dispensers, and CityNet is definitely taking all precautions to ensure that hygiene is a #1 priority. I'll get out of your way so you can see. Come on in. Go ahead and see that.
It looks deeper than.
Yes, go ahead.
There's another unit that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 80.
Is that better? Is that the 80 unit? We'll go with her. Okay, we'll go down this way. We have to go all the way down?
Yeah, so the city added a ramp for people that are in need of ADA needs.
So the ADA bathroom. Very good. Oh, it's locked. Okay. Well, we'll make sure that we'll have it open if you want to see it. But just the reality of it is that the city and CityNet, City of Riverside and CityNet, sat down, all hands on deck with our general services, Robert Rice and Carl Myers, and we thoughtfully took everything in consideration, from where to put operations, how construction would impact operations, and that's called best practices, and most importantly, how it would impact the individuals experiencing homelessness through a trauma-informed lens. So that's something that was really exciting. Now we'll go ahead and go into the offices, and that will conclude our tour. Oh, stuck the seal. Thank you. Sorry. That was to show how sturdy it was. Next time I'll wear clogs, not stilettos. Okay, so welcome to the wonderful office center as well as the dining area. Jessica, can you talk a little bit about this area?
Yes, so clients will utilize this office area to have meals. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner will be served in this building, along with case management services. So clients will come in, they'll meet with their case manager. If they're looking for housing, they'll be able to use our resource computers. We'll have areas for them to relax and watch TV in the afternoons, and then also be able to come in here and have somewhere to work on their housing plan.
Absolutely. And why this is very important is because currently there is not a 24/7 actual shelter. And the reason why 24/7 is really important is because we want to make sure that folks who are experiencing some sort of trauma or need the assistance can have easy access to the wonderful team at CityNet who could provide case management. One thing that I would like to say that's very, very important is that CityNet is our operator. They're the continuity of services here. We actually have a contract with CityNet for outreach as well, and they do outreach for individuals experiencing homelessness as well as families as well. And so the idea of having an operator who's established that rapport to then also be able to create a functionality in a shelter is something that we're really hoping will encourage individuals to go on to and move into self-sufficiency. We also have plans to get folks into housing stability plans. They're going to do connections to mental health, substance abuse, chemical dependency programs, and then also other county resources as well. So we're really excited about this continuity of care that we have with the CityNet operators.
So one of the things that speaking of community and sort of a village, as we've been talking about, one of the other realities is we're sort of reaching out to the community. The reality is a project like this takes many hands. You'll see here some of the simple things. We're going to be looking to community members who might be interested in donating personal hygiene items, basic supplies that allow a facility like this to operate. We'd love to see those kind of partnerships. In addition, we're going to be serving meals. So some groups, I know this is kind of maybe what they do. Meals, helping people prepare to move out of here, so move-out kits essentially, which would be move-in kits for their next residence, putting those kind of baskets together, basic essentials that will be important as they move from the shelter village into some sort of bridge or permanent housing from here. So there's lots of ways to get involved. If you're interested in that, you're seeing this, and you want to know how you get involved, you can email us at getinvolved@citynet.org, getinvolved@citynet.org, and our team will reach out, our amazing staff will reach out to you. We'd love to build a friendship and a partnership with you.
find out ways that you might bring some of your strengths and assets and abilities and skill sets and creative ideas to impact this shelter. So we would love, if you're out there and you're watching this, get involved at citynet.org. We'd love to talk to you.
Wonderful, thank you. And then lastly, we'll just come back out right here. One more thing I wanted to show you guys. Come on through. Watch your steps. So earlier we got the question, we'll go around here with the palette. Earlier we got the question about how this is a new model. Well, one of the things I do want to point out is we've got our village here. We've got our access center there. There's going to be the bridge housing as well. So individuals experiencing homelessness actually have a plethora of opportunities to get connected and feel that they have the wraparound supportive services. We want to thank you guys today for coming on the tour, and we're really excited to begin this groundbreaking of our community village. Thank you. Is that okay?